Welcome to Wednesday Web Chat. This is Carl Lewis, your host from Vision 33. Today, our special guest will be Focused Impressions. Craig, I'm going to turn it over to you at this point. Introduce your group and get us started.
Hey, Carl, good morning. I'm honored to be on with you again, as always, and thank you so much for the invite. Really anxious to show you what we built with FocusPoint for the SAP Business One marketplace. Just a little bit of an overview about what we're about as we chatted last time we were together. FocusPoint is an e-commerce solution dedicated to the SAP Business One marketplace. And the reason we decided to do that many years ago in 2014 was this very large marketplace, but most importantly, partners like yourself, like Vision 33, have trusted customer relationships around the globe. And we wanted to offer the customers in the SAP Business One marketplace a fully built, fully integrated e-commerce solution specifically for their business. So as they create their business rules and workflows in SAP Business One, they have an e-commerce solution, a customer portal that can bring those out and help them grow their business on the web. And we have integrated our e-commerce solution with the SAP toolset so they can be supported by SAP business partners. And we built a configuration module. So instead of really having to customize any of the functionality that many of your customers have built in Business One, we can configure to that functionality and get someone, a customer, onboarded quickly and for a very reasonable cost so they can begin to grow and expand their business. And today I have two of my partners with me, Charles Robinson, who heads up FocusPoint and all our e-commerce functionality, and Frank Petzold, who heads up all our SAP integration. And we're going to show you how this integration has been built and how easy it is to deploy for your customers so they can onboard quickly for very low cost. And I'm going to turn it over to Charles.
I'm going to talk about both B2B, B2C, and customer portals. So these are some of the three kind of main highlights that you can get right away with FocusPoint. So on the screen, we're going to start with the easiest one, which is the business to consumer or direct to consumer. Our sites can look any way that a customer needs them to look. They can be very, very high end. They can appear very rich in graphics. They can incorporate videos to have like a really engaging experience. And you can really connect with your customers. The great thing about FocusPoint 2, from an SEO standpoint, it is absolutely excellent. It has an enterprise engine running behind it, helps you rank really well in search engines and those kind of things. As we know, when you first start with an ERP, the descriptions and terminology that you use in SAP B1 might be really good for accounting or something like that, but not necessarily stays really well for say a Google search crawler or something like that with a very consumer-friendly description or keywords. So our SEO engine goes ahead and adds word insertions into these data really coming out of SAP B1 to kind of enhance it on day one to give you kind of a head start on some of that type of stuff. And just kind of a sample of what the art of possible is here. I can, in this particular case, this is all about motorcycles. So I can incorporate ribbons, all these kind of things. The really, really important thing to remember here is this is all controlled by SAP B1. You don't have to be an e-commerce expert or know how to code or do anything like that. That's really what makes one of the many things that makes our solution unique. So this helmet, for example, and how it appears, this is just simply an item card in SAP with a price list associated. Perhaps you're using a business partner special price or standard price list. The description is seated right in SAP. And the images, we actually have the capability to add multiple images. They can be sourced in SAP. You can also source your images external SAP B1, perhaps a CDN or something like that. And of course, we support all the units of measure that you could say sell by the package, sell by the pound. Give your customers lots of different options and those kind of things. Social media plugs are very important. That's always something that we kind of really push for. We have constant view of all the entities really in SAP B1. So not only do we know stock, which we can show in stock, out of stock, we can show lead times, we can show stock by warehouse. In more complex scenarios, we can get into regional type rules where if SAP B1 has a default warehouse for some business partners on the East Coast and different ones on the West Coast, the thing about FocusPoint as a platform, it will mimic all the business rules and workflows that you've set up in SAP B1. So you've spent years kind of hardening the rules, working on your ERP environment. Not only does this just produce the products, of course, to be consumed and purchased, but it also will mimic all the rules without any recoding, right? So one of the key reasons why we only integrate with SAP B1 is for that, so that we can also support UDFs, UDTs, UDOs, those basically everything that you've done to customize SAP B1. We have mapping technology that automatically maps to that, so that there's no customization, no coding, no development, none of that. Basically, this is also, these reasons are why we only can do SAP B1. So also just some other things on this B2C, things that are really important, specifications. These are kind of facts. They power, your faceted search, those kind of things. And these are all available as part of our integrated add-on into SAP B1. So now let's talk a little bit more about on-site search. So there's a lot of important factors when it comes to B2C. Mostly though, there's one kind of common rule. You get the consumer to the product in the least amount of clicks and upsell them on the way out with the fastest checkout possible. And these rules around search, yes, we care about SEO, of course, but when it comes to the on-site search, we use the same rules that someone like Google would use to get an on-site search that's ever evolving. So we measure conversions on the site itself, and we rank and boost keywords that's really important automatically. So again, you don't have to be a marketing expert to know that FocusPoint will continue to use what someone searched for on your site, translate it to a sale, and then improve that search result for the next person coming through who's, say, maybe looking for a helmet. Okay, and here's an actual live example of somebody using a very similar template. This is H2. They're heavy into bike equipment. This is a great customer here. You can see that they're using kind of basically MSRP strikeout prices. They have tier, price, and volume. And again, these folks no web experience. These guys are doing a great job, only managing everything out of SAP B1. So let's transfer now a little bit more into the B2B side of things. So, when it comes to B2B, a lot of elements from B2C are going to be incorporated. So navigation in terms of how to find a product. Yes, barcoding, order pads, order grids. The traditional ways to kind of find your previous orders, order again, are all important, but we're also interested in, potentially doing upsells, cross-sells, and providing a navigation way to actually get to the products. And many times these can be in like a complex parent-child relationship. Perhaps you have a situation where you have a product, but it comes in many sizes. Every size or color variation is in SAP, and you need to make it very easy. So if I search a term like gloves, right? So what I'm looking at here, if I'm a buyer, I have more awareness of what some of these things might mean. So here I can see my parent product, say the nitrile gloves, and here are all the different sizes that mean something to me as a business buyer. And so I can just jump right in and go ahead and buy that. The screen's going to automatically scroll down. If there's pictures, they'll appear. And I can see that in this case here, I can buy by the box. Right, so even when we're searching for lower level child items, it's very, very easy to do with FocusPoint. Just a little more, I'm just gonna showcase different kind of B2B kind of sites. This is another live customer here. So faceted search, another way to find products. So again, this is for B2B. In SAP B1, we have all these specifications. You're just putting facts in about this. In this case here, beer hops, what's its aroma, what's its alpha range, to the people in this industry, this means a lot. So the good news is, as you apply different specifications in SAP V1, these become automatic faceted search filters out on the web. And again, this is for B2B category navigation. We're going to show some of the more traditional stuff here in a few moments. Just want to kind of show you the range of what's possible with literally no even configuration. It's just you put a specification SAP V1, it becomes a faceted search on FocusPoint. So in here, all our sites, by the way, are lightning fast. We're hosted on Microsoft Azure and 5 data centers. So there's really no limit to the amount of bandwidth that we can handle. We can scale as needed. Package sizes here, I can select a 2019 year, and I can order it here by the package, even though it's sold by the pound. So here's some interesting things here where we're doing automatic things with units of measure. On the sales order in SAP, it needs to have pounds written, but we're selling by the package. So there's a conversion that's happening automatically. So as a buyer, I can buy by the package, and I can have this put in as a sales order rate by the pound. So moving along here, let's take another look. Here's another completely kind of different look. RAM products. So interesting thing about them, you can browse their catalog live on the web. However, you won't see any pricing. All right, so anybody going to ramproducts.com, they see the product line without the pricing. Once you sign up, you can get pricing. We respect all the rules automatically of SAP, as I mentioned, including the relationship between the contact and the business partner. So a contact can exist on one or many business partners, and on that business partner, they can have different permissions and privileges in the B2B context. For example, someone can be authorized to pay on invoices, or someone can be authorized to buy, or both of those kind of things. So for every business partner that the contact exists on, they can toggle between them, which will give them access to all the pricing, all the product visibility, all the information of that business partner, and maintains its own order pads, cart, all that type of stuff independently. All right, so I can go through the traditional approach and go through a catalog navigation, or I can just jump into my quick order pads, and all the content is segmented by security. So what does that mean really? It means that if I want to do promotions, targeted campaigns, messaging, then whoever is logged in, they're going to see that filter. They're going to just see what I'm showing. So for example, if I'm logged in and I didn't have access to this grit product, no problem, it would just be swapped out by a product that I do have access to, or I would see a different price if I had access to do that. So on the same portal here is an example of an order pad. So moving away from navigation, which is available, some people just want to look at an order pad, show me what I've ordered, most frequently ordered product down to the least amount, so that I can quickly do this here. So what we see is my most, for this sample, the single ear clip ring is the most popular product. It has to be ordered in multiples of 50, and it is in stock. I can see down below that there are other ones that have lead time showing on them and different rules, and some of them are each or pack. And in this case here, if I see $0 prices, it means I don't have a price list associated. So I opened up this single ear clip ring, and I can see the individual price. And here's an example where I could buy by the pack or by each. In this case here, we're going to buy each, but adjust the quantities. So if I have to order by multiples of 50, as soon as I try to change something, it goes to 51. Again, everything I'm showing you in this just high level, this is very high level, not a single configuration exercise is needed. These are check boxes that you do based on a few minutes on rollout, and that's it. This is literally how it comes pre-configured. So fun time, let's get into the customer portal. So how did I even get here? Let me just show you this account section. This account section is driving all the where things are. If I come under my account, this of course is a test order or a test user here. So I can see my order portal, my order catalog, my quick order pad. If I have barcode scanning, I can jump in there and do that. But here I can just jump into my order portal, which is the screen that I have up here, just already drilled in. So at the very top, I can search by dates, and I back this one up just because that's where my test data is. So from, to, document number, item. If I just want to find anything that I've ever done in SAP, this is the customer self-serve portal, what we're now walking into. Very common to show and use in B2B scenarios. We have many customers, in fact, a package all on its own, very priced accordingly, that just does customer portal, because not everybody is ready for e-commerce. Sometimes it just makes sense that I need to get my invoices paid out, self-serve, show people their order history and allow them to take new orders, but I'm not yet ready to create a full online catalog and the experience that goes behind that. So that's the customer portal. So inside here, you have access to the very first day of this business partner's business on your SAP B1 environment. So I can see all my previous orders, expand my order lines, see literally everything about this. I can just simply click and I can reorder anything that I want. I can save if I want to kind of basically do some reporting on this grid, add and remove columns, no development, no customization. You have a lot of flexibility on these things here. And this is a live view. If you make any changes in SAP B1 on, like, say, an invoice or a sales order or whatever, it will instantly be shown here. All right, so a FocusPoint order and invoice is one and the same. There is no separate web order, and then there's an SAP order. With FocusPoint, it's one platform, one sales order represents both from the web and from SAP B1. Now, speaking of invoices, we do allow payments, of course, because those have a lot of customers that go on terms. So I can offer different payment options. If I have an outstanding balance, I can go ahead and click on Pay Now, and we're hooked up to all the major, literally all the major payment gateways. So this is a situation where you have a payment gateway externally. We still work with scenarios where you have like an internal payment system in SAP as well. So here I could just click the Pay Now button, and in this case, I could come out, put my payment information here, and this would automatically create a payment inside SAP. And this is really great. Obviously, there's a communication workflow behind this. It sends out, you know, oh, new invoice has been created. Doesn't even matter how the invoice is created, just has nothing to do with the web. Just an invoice was created, it goes out and says, you know, hey, John Doe, new invoice has come up based on these sales orders. Please pay it here, and all that kind of communication is done. We also have deliveries, quotes, returns, and credit notes, all the major entities, and there are additional ones available that you can have in your customer portal. So when we combine the B2B and the order portal itself, it creates a very powerful offering. The order portal is connected immediately on the first day. So our integration is already done. One of the other important points around FocusPoint, it comes already integrated with SAP B1. When you implement FocusPoint, you are really implementing the web experience or what you want your customers to experience. Everything else, like you effectively skip the whole integration step. And even when you upgrade SAP B1 later, there is no additional fees or anything like that. It's going to be automatically, we just install our scenarios at the target level. And then you have great business continuity that way. And it doesn't matter where your SAP B1 environment is hosted, or if it's SQL or HANA, just as long as it's SAP supported, then you're good to go. So let's move a little more in for maybe the more the technical people that are on, like, okay, so what about the UDFs, and what are some of these, how hard is it, how fast can I do it, and these kind of things. So here's a combination site where it's both B2B and B2C. So Action Industries here. So if I come in and I look at, say, my bottom seals here, just a product category, you know, these categories, even though it's B2B, YouTube videos, very rich content, all great things to do. You know, so here I'm going to jump into this bottom T rubber product, and I can have different attributes. We saw it earlier on one of the examples where I picked a year, 2019, and then I picked the type of product that I wanted. It works the same way here. Basically, I can have these drop downs. I can pick different product combinations, see the pricing on it. So in this case here, my SKU automatically changed to this SKU here, hyphen 150, and it's $92. If there was a variation on here, then it could potentially cost more. All right, so, and that's effectively it. Now, what about the mapping behind the scenes here? So I'm now going to just show you just the back end of FocusPoint. And here is where a lot of secret stuff happens here. So how is it possible that we're able to do this without any customization? This mapping table is one of the keys. So this gives us the advantage where we can directly talk to native fields if we want to override, or talk to UDFs and apply formulas. So here's a great example. Let me just kind of cherry pick one. I would like to, on the sales order, attach the billing address, first and last name in a specific format, and call it ATTN or attention 1. Just something like that. A simple formula is all it takes. I click the add new mapping. SAP field name, if you're running a DTW, or if you know what your UDF name is for that field, you place it in here. You have a table, FocusPoint field name, and you just simply pick your entity, product, billing address, an employee, order header, order detail for sales order, whatever it may be, and then the direction, in and out. Which way is it going? Am I receiving data from SAP B1, or am I sending data to SAP B1? And then potentially a formula. So the formulas allow us to have a range of flexibility where I can manipulate certain data that's going into SAP before it even gets there. So this is just an example of what some of these tables could look like. So here is a simple rule. There's a state code UDF. So the state is the field in FocusPoint. I'm going to put it at the line level. This is for geolocating. So if I want to have state information at the sales detail line level, and I just give it the simple formula, and that's all it takes. And then what happens when we receive this in SAP B1, there's a corresponding entry here, and that's basically it. So if you know how to work basically a simple table mapping, then it requires basically no coding. So we're going to now take this over to the SAP B1 side and just show you a few things.
Thank you, Charles. And I'll pick it up right here. Nice from a geolocation perspective, right? As Charles mentioned, and I want to throw that out here, is actually that is the reason why we are industry agnostic, with our ability to map to any field, any object in SAP Business One, or vice versa on FocusPoint. Yeah, we have the ability to literally assign anything. Oh, sorry, here are, this is actually a live system. Orders are coming in. As we mentioned, that is actually a B2C, B2B customer, combines several platforms like Yahoo, Amazon, the eBays of these worlds into one common platform, routes it through FocusPoint, and through our mapping engine actually allows us to consolidate that. But let's go back to the geolocation. As you can see here, here see the FocusPoint field ID. Charles sends us state code 1, which actually on line item level turns into the warehouse code. Now, like FocusPoint with the formulas, whoever is familiar with SAP Business One, we can actually execute queries associated with it and put some rule sets behind it. So this customer actually has a multitude of warehouses, regional warehouses, and want to make sure, because shipping costs these days, right? You need to save, you want to save on shipping costs. You actually then say, hey guys, wherever it's coming from, determine the closest warehouse we are having and override the default warehouse in SAP. What you can see here, what is happening. In addition, you actually see a lot more of the field mapping. So when FocusPoint sends it down here, for instance, we have the ability, this customer in particular is using Avalara, and through their ongoing acquisitions of P2C customers, they actually ended up having 2 Avalara accounts. Again, FocusPoint sends us the data. We look at this and say, okay, what customer is it? And if it's a B2C customer, use that Avalara account versus a B2B, that Avalara account. Good. Let me move on to other examples here of this. What I wanted to show you is actually a little bit of the sense of FocusPoint. Charles mentioned this to you, and bottom T rubber. As you can see, and I want to give you a little bit of the insight and the depth of our solution and how you control this. What you see here actually is images to the left. You have two drop downs here on that field. You get description, long description bottom here, related products down here. How does that actually work in SAP? So when we install our user-defined objects, scripts, tables, the worst case scenario is 2 hours, you actually immediately have the ability on within SAP to set this up. Let me show you how this is working. So from a list of perspective, what I have is select this item in a sense. As you can see, that is T253-00-W, right? We actually allocate, as part of our solution, we create two fields. One is what we call the eCommerce profile, the look and feel, what kind of product attributes the item has, and this is associated, what kind of parent or where on the website do I fall. So let's talk a little bit about the look and feel first. As you can see, the look and feel is the bottom T rubber. That is the destination where it goes. But as we talked about it, if you see here, this is the long script. A note, it's HTML coded. We have the ability to scrape websites, put it right here. Then we have the images, the related items as well here, and the images as well there, which automatically translates the images here, the product SKU as well here, the bottom T rubber, the descriptions here, the related products down here. And if we go back to the web to SAP, you will quickly see then that the images, related items, and the description, all of it maintained in here. So how does actually an item know to go there and do this? Right, here's the product. What it is it's part of what we call a parent-child relationship. So it's a child, and in order to have a drop down, and that is the reasons why I think it's our solution is without competition here is basically what you see here is, hey, I'm an option on the website. I'm a drop down. You have the opportunity or the possibility to select that. Do you want to have a checkbox, radio list, a grid line with quantity? Charles showed you that in here, right? You have to say, hey, what is my value? Charles showed you 3-inch and here real versus foot sold by the foot. And if you scroll further, in particular in the apparel footwear industry, we usually sort alphanumerical, A comes for B, but always that doesn't work because extra small would show up extra small, so you can actually define the position here. So if we go back and do exactly this, select sold by the foot and select 3-inch, you will see you get the SKU right here and then. And then you add it to the cart, how many feet you want to have and stuff. And you will find this type of integration in any type of functionality required to do order management and order fulfillment. Here, I wanted to show you just the depth of something, but let me show you quickly a sales order. Actually, they came in from the Yahoo platform, right, to show you this. We can actually support anything here. Orders are flowing in. Here, what it is, the logistics side of it. Let me do a view user-defined windows that you can see this, and you can see that we enrich pricing. Actually, FocusPoint determines the pricing. We push it in. You have multiple configuration options. Logistics. we selected one customer, so we mapped all the details, and folks who know the screen can appreciate it. We have the ability to map to any kind of ship to or B2B field in there on this type of a level. We have the ability to actually taxes. We map the taxes. Anybody who is familiar with Avalara knows that we can do additional field mapping, and any kind of user-defined field which is required for further processing, right? In this type of a sense, this customer needed an additional phone number for ShipStation to actually process to generate the tracking number. Yeah, so we have ShipStation information. So all of this, if I come back to this, goes back to the additional field mapping so that we can actually enrich the sales order in process. And one thing also is we have our automatic ability. I mentioned that also. This customer automated the dropship items. They actually have dropship items where they use the warehouse 60, which automatically we have the ability to go into, say, hey, are you a dropship or not? If yes, automatically do the warehouse, allocate the warehouse 60, and then the procurement team actually takes it over from there. And that in a general helps is our integration. There's a lot more to it, right? But it summarizes it. Anything what is part of in here is supported, as well as if you go to inventory and do the item master, the price lists, all of that we support right out of the box once the scripts are installed. And that in itself summarizes actually the integration on a high level.
Thanks. The only thing I would just add to that is, you know, we've talked a lot about technology today, but then there's just the softer thing around this, which is if you're sitting back with an SAP B1 environment, and you might just be wondering, like, how do I do this? Like, how do I get online? It's not just the FocusPoint solution that we're offering. It's also our, you know, we've done, you know, an endless amount of e-commerce stand-ups and customer portal stand-ups. If you're curious about, like, what are even the first steps, or how do I go about this? That's also part of the implementation. We don't expect people to know how to do this. We give you a blueprint on how to get online, and a lot of best practices and those type of things are also included.
I think it's great, guys. Hey, you know, you mentioned that you've been kind of doing this since about 2014. Is that right?
That's right.
Correct.
We were into e-commerce before that. I've been in e-commerce myself actually for over 20 years, and Frank has been in SAP all his life. So yeah, but the FocusPoint solution, 2014.
And guys, you told me before, but how many Business One customers do you have today? It was pretty big number.
It is. You know, we're well over 250 now. You know, we can easily handle 6-7 implementations a week. We have a great team behind us, and we have a lot of capacity to grow even further.
And any you know, any issues with you know, like I mean, a lot of customers these days are doing business globally with you know, different languages, different currencies, things like that. Do you guys fully support all of those things?
Absolutely. You know, we're in UAE, Israel, Russia, Latin America. We have installations everywhere, full localization, globalization support.
Yeah, we also support multi-databases. If you have on one instance, for instance, 5 or 6, a lot of these have global hosting centers. Mm-hmm. So our solution actually allows you, based on geolocation, on FocusPoint, to identify the right SAP Business One backend as well.
As I say with everybody these days, great to see you online, but I really hope to see you again soon in person. And I'm sure that day is coming for all of us. Until we get a chance to do that, thanks so much. And for everyone else, we'll see you again on another episode of Wednesday Web Chat.